At the Okoli Law Group, we specialize in producing justice. If you or a loved one in the Atlanta metro area is facing serious criminal charges, then you need serious legal representation.
The Okoli Law Group is here for you. The Okoli Law Group is here for us.
The Okoli Law Group, serious legal representation.
Peace, family. We are live again. Hold on. Let me make sure I have these settings together. There we go. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. It really means a lot. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Please hit that like button. You should come to the chat room. And also make sure you share and subscribe. Happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. It's already April 5th. I will be 42 years old in 10 days. Y'all, I will be 42 years old in 10 days. Guys, time has gone by. Time goes by fast. We are already in Q2 of the year 2024. Already in April. Goodness. I just remember being at the Voodoo Festival early January. Again, time does not wait or stop for no one. Couple of announcements before we bring our guest on, our special guest. Nigeria, Osun Festival, August 4th to the 13th. We are rolling to the Osun Festival. We have 3 spots remaining. Again, we have 3 spots remaining. Please visit Donfo.Africa. Again, please visit Donfo.Africa to learn more. All right, we have 3 spots remaining. Go to Donfo.Africa, click on the link, discover more links, send me a message, send me an email, include your phone number, and I'll holler back. Also, we are rolling to Zanzibar for Safari Blue, September 22nd through October 1st. September 21st. I don't feel bad. I feel good. I'm 41. I got up this morning, ran 5 miles, worked out, lifted. Listen, I feel good. I feel good. I make sure I take care of myself. You know, so yeah, don't feel bad. I'm just saying it goes by fast, you guys. So enjoy the moment because it goes by fast. So visit Donfo.Africa to learn more about our experience. Safari Blue experience, you guys. Also, if you have not bought the documentary In Search of Uhuru, again, if you have not bought the documentary In Search of Uhuru, go to Donfo.Africa, click that link, documentary, and bam, you are in there. Without further ado, we're going to bring on our special guest, Brother Obafemi Origunwa. All right, and we're going to speak on, you know, the work this brother's doing in Nigeria, my country, our country. Again, our country of Nigeria. So let's go ahead and bring Brother Obafemi on. Aburo Oboye Obafemi.
Aboye, Aboshisho, Agbo Ato, Asure, Iwori Wofun. Prince Dynast. Good afternoon.
Sir. You went out towards the end. Yeah, I went out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I hear you now, yes.
Okay. My apologies.
No problem.
Yeah, good afternoon. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm doing well. Can't complain.
Good. I love that t-shirt.
Thank you. Available at so I'm redoing the site. It's available at ilamirror.com. I'll put the link in the chat room. The shirt is available
please
there.
Do. I need to have that. That's
okay.
I'll
put the link in the chat room. But yeah, let's jump right into it, man. Been meaning to link with you for a minute now. We have a mutual friend, Mustafa.
Oh yes, super solid brother. The best to ever do it. I love him.
Yeah, in San Diego. So, all right, neat. Hey, Nish, you calling in early? What's up, Nish? Nish, you got a question you want to ask already? Okay, all right. I think Nish got the wrong link, but it's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Like she coming in like, wait, I got a question.
Yeah. No. It's all good. You gotta, I don't know how she got that link, but hey, neither here and there. But brother Obafemi, yeah, just let's jump right into it, man. So you're a Bay Area cat. I'm from Sacramento. I'm from
Well, you know,
Sacktown.
I'm 50-50. To be honest, I'm from Southern California.
Okay.
Pasadena is really where I'm from.
Okay.
But I did like the first 25 years basically in Southern California, and then the second 25 up in the Bay Area.
All right. So I have some memorable nights off of Colorado Street in Pasadena.
It happens on Colorado. Now
Yeah. In fact, one of my favorite pastry shops off of Colorado Street, they closed down, man. They had I would go to Colorado Street. There's a couple little bars and clubs I would go to back when I was in LA.
Yeah.
And man, they had this pastry shop. Man, they had these oatmeal raisin cookies. I used to go in there, tear them things up, boy.
Have you rethinking everything? You just your perspective just shifts. Like, wait, everything's clear now.
Yeah, but they closed down, man. They closed down. Another cookie spot, pastry shop I had in LA off of Wilshire, they just recently closed down last couple months ago. So all the good cookie spots are disappearing.
I think it has everything to do with the economy and how, what it takes to survive in today's economy is different from what it was, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and where your clients are, who's buying cookies where, and what time, and all that kind of stuff. It's different. So if you can't adjust to that, then you go out, and I think it's really similar. Not only is it similar, it's identical for us. Where you got on a T-shirt that says Ifa and Voodoo, Palo Santeria Hoodoo. I got on a hoodie that says, School of Orisha Studies. We're right here in Atlanta, the two of us, but you from the Sacramento, I'm from Southern California. Like, we come from a moment in time wherein everything is everywhere all the time. And so in the tradition and within the culture, there's a need for meeting the time and being relevant to the time without compromising the reality of what the culture, what the tradition is, which is something I always love about how I see you operate and the way you move. It's like, on one hand, like, hey, you're real with the king. That is your kabiesi. It's not show. You're not just, you know what I'm saying? Some cats, man, you see them, you can tell they just skinning and grinning. There's no authenticity about it. They don't really care about. But you're like, no, this is my kabiesi. Respect.
Yes.
At the same time, I got my passport.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there's a kind of a military structure and correctness to the way you're going about doing things. And I think that balance between being innovative, being creative, being on the cutting edge, going right into where the technology leads you and touching all the points that you can without losing sight of the thing that makes it legit and makes it real. That's the struggle that I see we're facing today.
So when you say it makes it legit and makes it real, what do you think? Like, what that essence? What is it specifically that makes it legit and makes it real?
I think what makes it legit and makes it real is twofold. On one hand, I think it's that the proper steps have been taken to make it what people are saying it is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a king,
right,
I'm a Yoruba king. Okay, as a Yoruba king, that means I did the steps that one takes to be a Yoruba king. Number one. Number two, my intentions are in alignment with the sequence of events that I did. I am genuinely and sincerely doing ritual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know what it means, and I really believe that, and I'm true to that, and I'm going to uphold that. So I'm just using that as a metaphor. You know what I mean? I think it's twofold for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
On one hand, it's doing the right thing. knowing what the steps are supposed to be, and following the directions. And then on the other hand, is having real, genuine, sincere intention to do what that thing is intended to do. And then in the bigger picture, to be doing what we need as a people. Hey, I'm really looking out for my brother. In all sincerity, I'm trying to make sure that this cat comes up. I want to be sure that whatever it is that you come, you know what I'm saying? My goal here is to big up this brother.
Absolutely. We have a couple people in the backstage. Katrina, you want to add something? You have a question to ask, Katrina? You want to mute yourself? I think they have the wrong link, but that's fine. Dosunmu, you want to add something? All right, no worries. So, born and raised Pasadena. Then
Yes,
what
sir.
brought you to? Where in the Bay Area were you? Oakland or?
Mostly Oakland. Yeah, no, almost exclusively Oakland. Actually, yeah, I only live in Oakland.
Okay, what brought you to Oakland?
What brought me to Oakland first was, well, I have family up there, so I used to go and hang out with my family when I was little. But what really brought me to the Bay Area was school. I went to, so I started off at Howard University.
Okay.
And then after 2 years at Howard, I transferred to UC Berkeley.
Okay, I was supposed to go to UC Berkeley, but go ahead. Go.
Yeah, so that's how, I ended up in the Bay Area initially as a resident, was as a student. And then I came back as a professional a few years later. I worked at a university up there as a staff coordinator at a university up in the Bay Area.
What university?
Santa Clara.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what brought you to Atlanta?
What brought me to Atlanta was looking for a new opportunity for my son. One of my sons, he's a student at Savannah State right now.
Okay.
But, what really brought me here was, creating new opportunities for him, and likewise following what my own spirit was telling me was time for me. It sounds a little bit esoteric, but it's
no.
Yeah, like a couple of years before I came here, my spirit just started to tell me, I go out and I hike for years. I love nature. You can see I got, here, I like to be surrounded by nature. So I go out and walk, and I spend a lot of time meditating in nature. And, about 6 years ago, as I would go out, I was living up in Antioch actually in the time.
Okay. In the Bay Area. Okay.
In the Bay Area, there's Antioch has an interesting landscape. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of uneventful in the sense that you don't have that lush forest that you would get in, say, Oakland or Berkeley or even in San Francisco. There's like this flat marshland and open, you know what I mean? Like open fields and stuff like that up there. But there's the delta is there where the Sacramento River comes out, opens up into the bay. So you get this nice delta right there. So you get the birds and the reeds and all that kind of stuff. So I would be out there walking, and it came to me that, this is going to be the last season that you do this. You know what I'm saying? Soak it in. See this land and say goodbye to this land right now. Because this is going to be the last time you do Thanksgiving here. This is going to be the last time you do Christmas. This is going to be the last time you do your birthday. You know what I mean? So it would just come to me as I was, walking and meditating. And that's at the root of it, to be completely honest. And Atlanta is a fantastic place to be for me. I love being here. I love the weather. I love the people.
The cost compared to the Bay Area.
The cost compared to the Bay Area is ridiculous. Like, I feel like, the Bay Area is it has advantages. It does for a lot of people, but especially if I was a young cat, man, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because you just spend too much to figure things out. It's
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so you're in corporate America. You're a teacher.
Yep.
When did you start your journey into Ifa?
I started my journey into Ifa when I was a student.
Hmm.
Uh,
At Berkeley or at Howard?
at Berkeley.
Okay.
I went on an exchange program, and on this exchange program, I was hanging out. I went to San Jose, Costa Rica, and so there were very few black people there, and even very few black men. So we gravitated toward one another, and it ended up being a couple of Haitian brothers, a Nigerian brother, a Ghanaian, a Cuban, and myself. We would always be hanging out. We'd be at the bars. We hanging out. And in the process of doing so, we'd be talking about what it means to be a black man all over the world. And we talked about what it means to be a black man in the French system, in the
Right.
Spanish system, in the English system, in the American system, So we just comparing notes. And it was at that point that I realized two levels of a conversation. One is the conversation of what it means to be a black man.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's another level of the conversation that's ethnic.
Okay.
Right? So you got the Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Hoodoo. Those are also associated with ethnicities.
Mm-hmm.
Those are associated with cultural groups. Those are associated with nationalist identities. So, a Nigerian it means something to a Nigerian person. Ghanaian means something to a Ghanaian person. The relationship between Ghana and Nigeria is significant. That is between them.
Mm-hmm.
To be of what I'm saying, the relationship between Vodun, Santeria, between Cuba and Haiti
Mm-hmm.
is specific. The relationship between Haiti and the United States, right? So we all have our own different relationships with one another. So I got to see that other layer and then the other layers, and it made me really appreciate a little bit more of the fine points of what it means to be a man of African descent. But one of the threads of that was the religion.
Okay.
And understanding that the religious thread was real strong and very pronounced in Africa, in the Caribbean, in South America. And that's what got me, introduced to it and interested in researching it, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Just wanted to research, like, what am I seeing right now? That was my biggest question. What am I seeing?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you start getting when you started, I guess, telling people that you were an Ifa practitioner, how was that received by the community at first?
Well, I didn't tell people that at first.
Oh, okay.
I didn't tell people that at first. But when people would come in contact with it, funny story. When I was moving from Southern California up to the Bay Area, I moved in Oakland, in Maxwell Park in Oakland, and we had these movers, right? And these guys were all just careful. They had wrapped everything, and they were moving everything. They put it in the truck. They took it out the truck. They were going to put it into the room. It was a real nice moving experience, right? So at the house, there's like a couple of, maybe 6 stairs and then 8 stairs. So when you're at the bottom, you can't really, you're just talking about from the sidewalk up to into the house. From the sidewalk, you can't really see exactly what's in the doorway. So we're going back and forth, and a brother comes up, and I'm coming out the front door as he's coming in the front door. He's got this big box, and he sees my SU there at the front door, which is where SU should be. But I had put SU there in between us going in and out, right? So he had gone in and out a couple of times. So now this is maybe his third wave of going in the house. He sees SU at the doorway, and man, this brother froze. Bam! He didn't move. He didn't budge. He's looking. I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. He's like, "Am I good?" And at first I was surprised. I was like, "Of course. What do you mean?" He's like, so with his eyes, he looked down at SU. "Am I good?" And I said, "Yeah, you're good. Come on in, no problem." He came in, and we went on throughout the day. So I say that because my experience with introducing people to the fact that I am an Orisha devotee and an Orisha priest is that our people respect Orisha, even if they don't know the name Orisha.
Mm-hmm.
We respect that there is a spiritual reality that is beyond our comprehension and beyond our influence. You know, you could say we're superstitious, but you could also just say that we have a reverence. And so when I introduce people to the fact that this is what I do, they show reverence, they show respect. If people see me wearing my traditional clothing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they show respect. Um, Another anecdotal experience I had in Oakland, I was working over at Ile Day, which is Oakland's premier independent Black school.
Okay.
It's like 89th and Holly, what they call the Deep East Oakland.
Okay.
Everything goes down there. It's the hood, basically.
Mm-hmm.
One day I'm going through and I'm walking down Holly and I got my traditional clothes on and I'm about a block from the school, and a car, which is like, I don't know, a 98 Oldsmobile or a Buick, you know what I mean? Like something like old school, big iron thing. Woo, across on the other side of the street, pull right up on me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 3 women. And they're like, yeah, I like that suit you got on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, this is working for you. They're like, oh yeah, that looked real good. I'm like, thank you very much. Have a beautiful day. And, oh, they just mashed off.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, there's love. But I find that our people respond to what we're sending out.
Mm.
Our people respond to how we receive one another. So the fact that I am an Orisha devotee and Ifa priest, they don't necessarily even know what that means. It's just that they know what the vibe is.
Right.
And they come in contact with me and they say that this is this guy, yes or no.
What Nigeria? Like when was the first time you went to Nigeria?
The first time I went to Nigeria was,
And how was that experience?
let me say, 2002.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 2002. And you know, in a lot of ways, it's very similar to how it is right now.
Okay.
Nigeria, in many ways, has not changed that much.
So back then, how would you get there? So, like, what airline? Like, did you fly Delta or?
I'm not sure which. I think I took Virgin Airlines. I think I
So you
took,
flew to UK? Okay.
yeah, I think I flew Virgin Airlines. In those days, it was like Virgin Airlines and Lufthansa.
Okay.
That I was getting.
Okay.
I was always flying into Lagos.
Mm.
Of course, the new airport has been done, so I was flying into the old airport.
Mm.
And then, you know, you arrive and go through customs. That part hasn't changed too much. It's very litigious. If you have an aversion to like courtroom type settings and all that kind of stuff, it'll freak you out a little bit. But it's cool though. They're not, you know what I mean?
It's cool. Yeah, so it's cool. Like it's cool. Yeah. It's just when people are so worried and paranoid and scared about going to Nigeria, I'm like, man, it's cool.
It's cool.
In fact, Mufasa went with me his first time to Nigeria, and then he went back without me.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like I love it. I love my country. I'll be back in May. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, nice. I should be back in May also. Hopefully we can
Yeah, because it's so I'll go to Ife for, I think it's Ifa not a week, but what's it called?
The New Year, the Odufa for the New Year.
No, I forgot. Ifa Festival.
Okay.
Going on end of May. So I'm gonna catch a day in Ife, and I'm gonna head back to Lagos. I'm coming from Senegal because I'm taking a group to Senegal for the jazz festival, and then we'll be back in Nigeria in August for the Oshun festival. So,
like that. When is the jazz festival in Senegal?
May 12th. Well, we're leaving May 12th.
Okay.
The actual festival itself, like we'll be there in St. Louis from the like the 18th through the 22nd. So we'll get like 2-3 days of the jazz festival, and then
okay.
then I'm gonna head to then I'm gonna head to Nigeria after that.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well,
So tell us about some. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I just I'll stay in contact with you because I intend to be there around that time, and I would absolutely love to link up with you.
Okay. So so what are you doing in Nigeria? I know you have a couple projects going on, and
Yeah,
it's just nice to see us building in Nigeria.
it is like I believe the hype, where they're talking
Mhm.
about Nigeria being a young economy, Nigeria being the
Mhm.
fastest growing economy,
Mhm.
and practically speaking, man, I know you've seen it, but
All right.
it's interesting how the Nigerian Christians and the mega church and that kind of thing, that whole movement is
Huge.
so closely aligned with the African American mega church movement.
Right.
So you can see the
I
carryover
would say it's bigger in Nigeria.
is bigger in Nigeria. It's bigger. Same formula,
Right.
the same vibe. You know what I mean? It's like if I mean, based on what I see, they're observing how our, you know, pastors are, and I think they're not just observing them. I think they're working in conjunction with one another.
They are. Some of these mega churches here, and well, some of the mega is vice versa. Some of the mega churches in Nigeria have satellites in the UK, have satellites in the USA,
Yeah,
and vice versa. So yeah.
yeah, they're cross pollinating right now,
Right.
which is one of my early experiences, man, in LA. My first teacher, Baba Lade, was a musician. He was a bass player.
Mhm.
And there's the Aladura Church, Cherubim and Seraphim, Cherubim Seraphim. It's a kind of a syncretic church. It's like Christianity and Orisha infused.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. You should check it out. It's an interesting. If you go to a Aladura church and then go to a spiritual Baptist church, like in anywhere in the Caribbean,
Mhm.
everybody, the Jamaicans, they've got the revivalists, Antigua, everywhere you're going to be able to find, this kind of syncretic Afro-Christian thing.
Yeah, but do they recognize the origins of indigenous African spirituality in like do they actually recognize it in
Nah,
their form of Christianity?
nah,
That's
nah.
the thing. Or they deny it, or so demonize it.
They deny it. They might
Okay.
bristle if you start talking about that too much. That's gonna make people.
Right.
Yeah. But we can't have it all at once.
So tell us about the school you're building. It's in Abeokuta or
Yeah, we're
okay.
building a school right now in Abeokuta, the Orisha Lifestyle Academy, Abeokuta campus. This is going to be our exchange program for students in the School of Orisha Studies. So the School of Orisha Studies is patterned like a HBCU. This is
Mm,
designed for a place for African Americans who want to practice the spiritual traditions of their ancestors. We do it together in our way, and that's the School of Orisha Studies. And then when folks get to a certain point in their practice and in their study, it's you need to be in Nigeria. You need to be in contact with Nigerian practitioners,
mm.
the context of the culture. You know what I mean? And so that's what
Right.
the Abeokuta campus is there to provide that experience for people, my students who go over and now they're ready to go into that level of immersion. And on one level, what we bring people in for is the liturgy. So this is how you can really learn and really get deep into your prayers and the chants and the
Mhm.
songs, with with someone coaching you basically. And then on the other end of the spectrum, it's about service learning. So another category of students will go to Nigeria to the Abeokuta campus to provide, services. Maybe I'm envisioning things like nurses,
Mm,
people like carpenters,
mm,
people like teachers, you know, um, who I'm a Booker T. Washington person myself.
okay. Like Booker T. Washington.
Yeah, I love Booker T, man. He's it to me. I just can't go any beyond Booker T. Washington. He, in the sense that he's very practical. He's very, very reasonable.
In fact, hold on. I'm gonna recommend a book to you. Let me get it real quick. Keep going.
Okay. And so looking practically at where we are and what our people can do and what we have to offer, there's a lot of meaningful contribution that we can make in Nigeria, while at the same time acquiring some skills and some contact resources that will help us to prosper and 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 um and make an also meaningful contribution here in the States. So that's what this the Abeokuta campus is all about. On the one side, religious liturgy, language acquisition. On the other side, service learning, making a contribution, being able to learn and develop so you can get better, here on this side.
So this book right here, Booker T. Washington and Africa: The Making of a Pan-Africanist by
Oh yeah,
Dr. Tyree Wright.
yeah.
Very good book. A very good book. In fact, I need to read this book again.
I saw that when they were announcing it, because it seems like the person who was behind it was like a Panamanian or something.
No, is Tyree right? I don't think she's Panamanian.
She's not Panamanian.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
That was how it came into me. And maybe it was a Panamanian person who hooked me up, because the part that struck me about that particular book is that it goes into how Booker T. Washington was instrumental in immigration law,
right?
And making sure that Black immigrants from places like Panama, from Haiti,
right, when they're being the Panama Canal, and
yeah,
right, mm-hmm.
yeah.
It talks about that in here.
Yeah. It was somebody was Panamanian who introduced me to it, and I read a little excerpt. And that endeared me to Booker T. Washington even more, because another, one of our dilemmas, and which is why I love what you do, is being able to tell our own stories, being able to disseminate information, from us to us for us is important, because the narratives. If you say Booker T. Washington, for example, if you say Booker T. Washington, in some places the first reaction is going to be to counteract with some sort of imaginary beef between Booker T. Washington and W.B. Du Bois, or between Booker T. Washington and Garvey, and it's going to be like this back and forth nonsense about an imaginary beef,
mm-hmm.
as opposed to just the simple fact that these guys were all on the same page. They were all Pan-Africanists.
Right.
Garvey, Booker T, W.E.B. Du Bois, Pan-Africanists. But hitters. Booker T. Washington was a hitter. Marcus Garvey obviously was a hitter, but W.E.B. Du Bois was a hitter.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think presently today, when it comes to Pan-Africanism, do we have those same hitters as we did back?
I'm coming to a very, and I'm asking questions, brother. I'm asking questions, because what I mean is that when I look around, I'm not seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing it anywhere. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want to dismiss everyone, and I don't want to be dismissive of everyone, but I actually shared a video to this exact same effect earlier today. The Pan-Africanists that I was exposed to were scholars. They were hitters. Francis Cress Welsing, Amos Wilson, Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark, Leonard Jeffries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These guys were hitters, man. And you couldn't just get up and they weren't just talking. And they weren't just talking for the sake of talking. Even when they were bringing down facts and hardcore data, it was for a purpose. And the part that I don't see right at this moment is enough of the purpose.
When you say the purpose, what do you mean?
Like the purpose being freedom. The purpose being actually improving the situation for us. Like You know, we can go from we can go from idea to manifestation. Like this is like.
And you think we're being stuck at the idea part, not even the ideas anymore, like just the I'm gonna read books part. That kind of.
Yeah, I feel like that idea part, and then arguing about the idea part.
Yeah, we can't move past the idea part.
But why? When you can just you can start doing it right now. You can do it. Whatever it is you got in mind. You want to build a school, build a school. You want to build a little community. You want to have a little village somewhere. Go do it.
Right.
You want to have a manufacturing industry. Get in there. You want to produce films or songs or models. Do it.
Right. Tell us more about the school in Atlanta, the Atlanta branch, or Stone Mountain, which suburb of Atlanta.
So what Atlanta is our headquarters, and what we're doing is we are providing educational support for African American devotees, meaning this is where we host our monthly ceremonies. You know, every month we gather, and this is the time where we do, you know, if people are receiving shrines or people are celebrating their annual celebrations. You talked about earlier going to an Ifa festival. We host the Odun for the Ifa festival for our temple, as well as for our members here, and then we also administer all the different activities so that you know the you know all the behind the scenes stuff happens here.
Okay, guys, links in the Marie, call in. Links in the chat room if you guys want to call in and add to the conversation, ask a question. By all means, click on that link. I see Ola. Go ahead, Ola. Meet yourself, Ola. Ola.
Oh yeah, thank you, Dad, for allowing me your channel.
Go ahead.
I want to ask something
real quick, guys. Hit the like button. All right, if you're watching this, if you have not hit that like button yet, please hit that like button. Please help the algorithm so more people can see this. Go ahead, Ola.
Thank you, man. You know, I've been learning about this Orisha from you people, even from Nigeria. I'm from Edo State.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm from Edo State, you know, not too far from the boundary between Yoruba ethnic people and my state. Which normally
Ola, can I ask you a question? Sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry. You mentioned you're from Edo State.
Yes.
Do you guys consider yourselves? I know. Do you consider that you guys originated from Ife or no? Because I've heard like both sides. Like
the true matter, the true matter is I don't know much about Orisha. No, Edo State is not originally from Ife. You know,
well, the story is the first copy.
Yeah, but you see, every of them have their own version of it.
Okay.
The Edo people will tell you that is the first one of the Oba Benin that went towards that side, you know, and they will tell you that version. But I think there's Ododuwa. Ododuwa have a son called Oromi or something like that.
Who went to oil?
Yeah, that form. You know, he formed the Alafia of all these things, New of Ife and all these things. That Ododuwa of a guy. But he have a son that came back. But they said that son is from, where your father from, that's where you're from. It's a son that came to Benin to marry a Benin person, a woman that gave birth to the Oba of Benin. That's the version of what, the history of about what they're talking about. But I think similarly, we have sometimes similar type of worshiping, but the Orisha of it that you are talking about, that you are a member of, I don't know none about that thing at all. At all. Is I'm hearing it the first time. I'm just listening to this to you and the gentleman. You know, more I know about my grandparents when they were worshiping was like what they call the Olokun.
Yeah.
The Olokun. They also have the god of iron, we call the Ogun.
Yeah.
And the gun of the sun. You understand me? So this Orisha part of something is first time is through you, how you talking about it, I have to look and listen where that we started interviewing a lot of people in Nigeria. I said, whoa, so there's something like this, really, you know. So, and the gentleman is not talking about it passionately, you know. I'm, you know, kind of like, you know, very, very interested. I grew up in a with my grandfather that they're not Christians generally, you
Yeah.
know. These are they worship their traditional religion, and which the Yoruba they also affiliated towards Yoruba, also similar type of worshiping also. But the Orisha aspect, the I don't know if the Edo people have a name for it, but it's first time through this channel I've been hearing about Orisha, and really I come across that religion because I'm not really from Yoruba. Maybe a Yoruba person from Yoruba will know much about it. Bro, I want to ask you a question, please. When you start believing in this part of religion, the Orisha, were you scared to be involved with it by worshiping it? Do you have a dream about it? Do you dreamt about such a religion is calling you? Do you have a feeling about this where you belong to? Is it how do you get into it, please?
I love that question. I love that question. Um, and I love that question because it's the Orisha really revealed to themselves to me in two ways.
Mm.
And the way they revealed themselves to me were in ways that were very comforting to my spirit and very suitable to my disposition. Meaning, I love my mother dearly. And my mother is a very wise woman. May she rest in peace. My mother was a very high intellectual, the smartest person I ever knew. And she would teach me. I was a boy, you know, and so I did what boys do. And my mother would teach me. No matter how outrageous the things that I did were, she would teach me. And she would share wisdom with me. One day, I was in the library. I was in college, and I was in the library. Somehow, I stumbled onto some book of philosophy, and it had Yoruba words in it, something about Yoruba wisdom. It was a verse of Ifa. I didn't know it was a verse of Ifa at the time, but I'm reading it, and as I'm reading it, I can hear my mother's words. I can hear my mother's voice. As I'm reading the verse of Ifa, line by line, I can hear my mother's voice as though my mother is reciting the verse to me in English. And I was so shocked that I looked around to see who knew what I was reading. How did they put this into this book like this? Who else knows that is here? Who's watching me? I couldn't believe that my mother's words were written here as someone else's. Now I know it was ended up being a verse of Ogbe Alara, Ogbe Otura. I know the verse well now. But my mother was telling me the teachings and the wisdom of Ogbe Alara as just a matter of course of how she was telling me to grow up to be an upright, correct man. So that's the first thing that when you say, how did I know? Well, I know because when I read the first verse of Ifa, it was the words of my mother that she had been telling me since I was a small child. The other way did come exactly as you described, as a dream. I had a dream, and I saw things and I experienced things in the dream that were very personal to me, that affirmed for me this is where I should be. So my experience is that the way we come is the way Orisha will meet us.
Mm. Write that down. Real quick, I want to address a statement that was in the chat room. Get your feedback on this, Obafemi. Dynas is obsessed with voodoo. Look at his shirt; he's lost. People think Orisha devotees and voodoo and that we're lost. Like, what would you be? What would be your response to that? Like, what would be your response to that?
I love it. Well, if that's the way, if you're lost, stay lost.
Okay.
If someone genuinely feels that you're lost because you're practicing Ifa and voodoo, then good, stay lost. And I mean that in the sense that, what did Dr. King tell us about unjust laws? You know, he has a great quote about, you know, just as there's unjust men, there's unjust laws. And the worst thing you can do is to normalize insanity. You know, voodoo is this is the thing that another story I'll tell you. I met a couple of really nice sisters one time, and these ladies were gorgeous, you know. And just to be honest, you know what I mean, they were like, you know, they were flirting with me. It was a couple of young African girls, and it was big fun, you know what I mean? Because, you know, the wordplay, you know how we do. All of our people talk.
Right.
And so I'm talking to these young ladies, man, and it was fantastic. We were having a lot of fun. And I told them I'm on my way to Africa. I said I was going to go to Benin, and you know, one of them's like, "Oh, be careful of the voodoo," and I'm like, "Be careful. That's why I'm going."
Right.
Man, this girl ran. I gotta go to the bathroom. I mean, immediately. And then the other one commenced to, you know, tell me about how Jesus, that, and the other. But then I just listened, and I was like, okay, let me just ask you a question though. What exactly happened with the voodoo people that made you come to the conclusion that they're doing evil? Like, was there a voodoo war where the voodoo people like raised up and just like attacked everybody? Was it like, did the voodoo people? Well, yeah, what happened? And she couldn't produce any experience that was.
Right.
And I said, you know, see, that's it. That's the part where I stumble, because I've never heard of the voodoo people banding together to suppress the whole village. But
Right.
there's a whole, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause all of Christianity is just
And Islam.
Islam. You can't pick a place where they didn't chop people's hands off, cut people's tongues out, you know what I'm saying, brand people, make them use rituals to forget their ancestry. Like, there's this story after story after story of millions of people who've been brutalized by Christianity and Islam. But you telling me that I should be afraid of the voodoo? Why? So in that regard, stay lost, bro. You know, and those people who can't figure it out, they will eventually.
Let me read the super chat, and I'm gonna pass it to our sister Oshun Bumi. Oshun Bumi. Songs like Soso and Amino, is there a force trying to counter Africans returning to their root religions? I guess that's a question for you, Obafemi.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. You know, when I go back to what I was saying before, about being introduced to the tradition as a scholar, I read a brother's, a Nigerian cat from like maybe 1971. He wrote his doctoral thesis on African cognition and the use of symbolism in the process of cognition. And one of the things that he mentions in this is the African mind and the relationship, the intersection between the African mind and our creation of our reality. And he talked about rebirth and reincarnation. And one of the things that stood out for me was how he described that the process of reincarnation was in 16 generation cycles. And so how entire generations and entire kingdoms could be reborn within that you know, that 16 generation cycle. And that struck me because I started to think about how many generations that would be, how many years that would be. And when I started doing the math, it ended up being like about 500 years, you know, a 16 generation cycle. And it made me think, wow, 500 years ago, that would mean that all black people's ancestors would have been in Africa. And then if, you know, the theory is true, then that would mean right about now, all of those original ancestors will be returning to the earth. And so they'd be recalling what they knew and what worked. But now they're in Jamaica, they're in Louisiana, they're in Trinidad, they're in Brazil, they're in Cuba, they're in New York. And so I really I think that we're we're in a moment wherein our ancestors are trying to give us the way to what's going to work for us. They're reintroducing us to the resources and the technology and the ways of doing things that they know, that they intended for us to be making use of.
Ocean Boomy, go ahead and unmute yourself. Oshun.
Aburu Aboya Bushishe Baba.
Kwaito Ashumbumi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Baba.
Cabo.
Thank you for welcoming me, Prince Dynast. I'm a student of Baba's.
You're in the matrix. We're losing you. You're going
I'm just here to listen.
Okay.
I said I'm a student I'm a student of Baba's. I'm here to listen. Thank you.
Where are you from? Nigeria?
No, I'm from Congo, DRC.
Congo, okay. DRC, okay, cool. Go ahead, Larry.
Thanks, Dynast.
Cabo, Larry, Cabo.
Well, actually, it's what time is it now here in England? It is now.
It's a Kale.
Anyway, I was going to ask, when you follow Ifa, do you find with the divinity, is there like a particular one that you choose to venerate? So maybe one person or group of people decide we're going to do it for Ogun, or we're going to do it for Oshun, or do you venerate all of them, or do you pick one?
Thank you very much. There are lots of approaches, right? As with all things Yoruba, there are as many angles and perspectives as you could possibly imagine, but somehow they all make sense. And I think that's the genius of the Yoruba mind, is that it's so flexible and so dexterous, but at the same time maintaining laser focus and a high level of consistency. So on an individual level, of course, yes, each of us would be free to interact with, make use of, adhere to the teachings of every Orisha as is necessary. But then in our family lineages, we also inherited, so those of us who have the benefit of knowing, you could come from an Ogun family. Your father's lineage is all Ogun. And so by virtue of that reality, you worship Ogun, or you have access to the mysteries of Ogun or the ceremonies of Ogun. But you personally may be a more closely affiliated with Orisha Egbe. And so you could be free to go and worship with the Egbe people and receive the blessings of Orisha Egbe. Now that would be the way it would play out in a real pristine environment, let's say in Nigeria or in the Republic of Benin. For us today, that still holds true. And I just say, practically speaking, for a person who wants to know, I encourage people to really, really lean heavily upon Egungun, the ancestors, and Ori, because those are the things that are really yours by birthright. And you can find real people who can practice it with you one way or another. You can, Egungun, your extended family, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents. People may not want to do it, but that keeps it real. That keeps it real. You're talking about the blood. And then,
thanks for that. I wanted to ask you, when you're either following whichever Orisha, where will you get your morality from? Is it written down? Like, you know how to treat your fellow man, your fellow woman, how to treat your kids, how you deal with crime or lies which are being perpetrated. Is there like a code that you will follow that has been written down and passed on?
Oduifa, correct?
Yeah, Oduifa would provide a layer. Oduifa would provide a blueprint. Oduifa would provide in the moment ways to respond to things. But the real code of conduct is going to come from your your family again. And this is one of the real important things that I love most about Orisha is that Orisha is a subliminal thing. What like the elders would say, we only have to tell one half of a proverb to someone who is omoluabi, someone who is well born. Why? We only have to tell them the first half of the proverb because the other half of the proverb will flower from within themselves. So the real essence of Orisha is sublime. And that's the part that we're missing, though, here in the diaspora. It's sublime. It's not the overt part. It's the part underneath it. It's the part that's suggested. So you're going to get your real code of conduct from your family. Ifa supposes that you already know that. Ifa assumes that you already know that you're talking to your father. You're taking direction from your father. Ifa assumes you already know that you are respecting the way that your mother is laying out for you. Ifa assumes that you already are have a certain relationship with your brother and your sister. That's how Ifa really works. If you have those subliminal pieces under, if you're attuned to that, then the external part's going to work for you. If you're not attuned to that, the external part will it will never you have to do it, keep doing over and over and over and over and over. But it's the when you get wise about it, you understand that this is, for example, today right now we have in our temple the Odu Ifa tells us about the blessing of children. Ifa is speaking of the blessing of children. So you got all these stories, right? You can pull down verse after verse after verse about children, children, children. But as much as it is about the blessing of children, to have children means you have to be a parent. Ireoma means the blessing of being a parent. What does it mean to be a parent? What changes within you when you become a father? That's Ireoma. What changes within you? When you are a woman, you give birth to a baby. Oh, that's Ireoma. That's real Ireoma. Because now you that child's mother forever. Now you that child's father forever. My whole frequency different now because I got the blessing of a child. That's Ifa. But Ifa's going to point you to the child. It's up to you to recognize, but this is really about me as a parent.
Okay. And the final questions for you and Dynast as well, because Dynast goes regularly to Nigeria to take part in venerating Oshun, and you are regularly involved yourself in venerating Orishas. Do you find that you have to learn Yoruba in order to be able to perform?
Yeah, I mean, see, and that's where I'm kind of lagging behind because I don't know Yoruba yet. But it's like when it comes to voodoo, when it comes to Ifa, like it's something about being able to speak and venerate in the native tongue. Like there's power in that versus English or whatnot. So I think so. Go ahead, Obafemi.
I agree. I think there's two. Again, there's twofold thing because language organizes thought. The part is that the Yoruba are brilliant. We have to look at it and with a sense of awe. Yoruba language is a code of brilliance. It's as magnificent as any code that Bill Gates could have ever come up with to conquer the world with Microsoft. Yoruba is far more complex than Microsoft. Are you following me?
I follow you.
Language organizes thought. Languages organizes thought. So the blessing that Yoruba language really provides us is a way to organize our thoughts in a way that's independent of what the white man says is reality.
Mm.
The brilliance of Yoruba language is that it allows you the freedom to organize your whole experience in a way that's independent of what the white man says is reality.
Okay.
So if we want to, what Orisha is about identity. Orisha tells you who you are and what the ultimate reality is. If you know the language, you can the spoken language of Orisha, then you're getting physics. You follow what I'm saying? And for people who are numbers people, physics is all numbers. Imagine you know all the numbers and all the calculations and equations to explain everything that's between you and the sun. That's what Orisha is about. If you can speak Yoruba language.
Okay. Well, that was it. Thanks very much for answering my questions.
Absolutely.
Kabiyisi Mufasa, go ahead. You got to unmute yourself.
My bad. First, can y'all hear me? Mic
Yeah,
check. Is
loud
my
and
mic
clear.
cool?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Abura Boye, Baba.
Boy, I tell I saw they what you were for.
What's going on, Dinus?
What's up? Kilo Shale.
Kosin Konkon. So yeah, it's I'm glad y'all finally got together because both you guys are like the two people that are the most integral to my Orisha journey, because the first person to like, I heard of it, right? But the first person to introduce me to actually seeing any Orisha practice is Dinah Samir. When I went on Dinah Samir's first tour, and we actually got to see these things engaged and see Ebo get made and all of that. That was my first exposure to it. And then later on, I went on to kind of study and do these things. And then I found my current Oluwo Obafemi Origunwa. Oloye Obafemi Origunwa, which means chief for y'all that don't know. Okay. So now I'm actually getting the actual education formally. I just wanted to kind of speak a little more about my experience in the school, because the main issue that I found after being exposed to the Orisha lifestyle and just the different Ifa, voodoo, all the things on Dinah's shirt, it's hard to kind of understand these things and learn about them. You do have a few good books, which Obafemi actually has a good book also, the fundamentals of Orisha lifestyle, which I also bought and helped me to gain understanding. But it's hard to really get training, and I run into a lot of people who they pick these things up and they just say, yeah, I'm practicing Ifa or I'm practicing the ancient traditions. And it's not formal. There's no traceable way to figure out who they are. It's like people just kind of picking up things and freelancing. So you have no real basis on what you're learning. It's just kind of all over the place. So when I got into the School of Orisha Studies, that's what helped me to get from a person who we can ask him right now. He can tell you when he was initiated, who he was initiated by, where they're from, what type of tradition they practice, right? We learn different Oriki, we learn different songs. We can ask Baba, when did you learn that song? Where'd you learn it from? He could tell you where it came from in the context of which the song or the verse or whatever is coming from. So I just wanted to really get on here and express what it is going on at the school. It's not a million schools like this. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of opportunities and things going on like this that's happening on this side. And now to extend to what is going to happen in Nigeria, to extend that school and go to that level, I just wanted to kind of show you guys like what is really happening on this side. It's pretty much all. My sister Oshumbumi was just on here. She's Congolese, and then we have a couple other native-born or continental Africans in the school. But the overwhelming majority of people are African Americans in the school. We all are learning Yoruba language. Chants. We can say our Ijuba. I could sit on here for the next 20 minutes and chant to you guys in Yoruba language. And I'm a non-Yoruba speaker. And this is all things that I learned in the School of Orisha Studies. So, like I said, this is a unique school, and I wanted to. He's kind of modest. He don't really pump it up like it should be. But this is the reality of what what he's doing in the School of Orisha Studies. And yeah, like I said, I'm really happy to be a part of it and wanted to kind of express that to y'all.
Shame.
And then before we log off, we'll go into more detail about the school and how people could join and your books as well. Let me pass it to Dino. Go ahead, Dino. Unmute yourself.
Hey, how you guys doing? Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
All right, cool. I'm just a cross watcher, just an examiner, and I just kind of wanted to ask, do you think that there's a connection between the ancestors trying to get our people to get enlightened more about the Yoruba culture and somewhat pretty much connect the diaspora to the Yoruba culture and the ancestors by way of some of the things that we've came to encounter in later days, like the Afrobeat music? Because one thing I've noticed is like a lot of the Afrobeat music they're speaking in Yoruba, in the Yoruba language, a lot of the artists, although from Nigeria, a lot of them are Yoruba. And I don't know, I feel like I was kind of trying to connect the dots. I'm like, okay, a lot of people in the diaspora have Yoruba, have some Yoruba ancestors somewhere, some way down the line or whatever, whether they might have one ancestor from Cuba, Trinidad, or wherever. So I guess what I'm trying to ask is, could this be a way that the ancestors are trying to connect us? And it's here. It's pretty much hidden in plain sight, but it's pretty much apparent. But do you think my observation is true? What I'm thinking? Am I on the right path as far as like what I'm observing right now? So I guess that's my question.
Definitely. That's that was what I was alluding to earlier, with the brother who wrote the doctoral thesis and saying that every 256 years, which is kind of 16 generations, the whole cycle repeats itself. And our people have now been spread out, all over the diaspora, but we're coming back. And so it's like one big family. It's one big ethnic group and one cultural group that just happens to have been spread out all over the diaspora.
Right.
And I sincerely think that yes, all these things, like the fact that Afrobeat sounds so much like dance hall, and the different, like we were talking earlier about the Christians, the Afro, or I just can say the Nigerian Christians and African American Christians are cross pollinating, and then we got people who are going back and forth with Orisha. When you look at it from a cultural perspective, what I'm trying to say is that there's all this overlap that we just overwhelmingly experience. African Americans go to Nigeria and be like, yo, this is real familiar.
Right.
Like
Right.
this is like, somehow you my people. Our whole lifestyle is different. Our language is different. Our food is different. Our clothing is different. But the vibe is like click, 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 natural.
Right.
It's unexplainable. You go over there and it's like, man, this is topsy-turvy, bro. All day, every day. Nigeria is a caper. It is precarious. It is unpredictable. And it looks unsafe. It looks unsafe. But you never feel more secure than when you in Nigeria.
Right. Real talk.
You with your people.
Facts. Like when I first touched ground in Nigeria in 2018, I said, "This is it. This is home." When I first touched down at the airport, like I just knew it.
You've been to Senegal. You've been to Tanzania.
I've been everywhere else. When I touched down in Nigeria, I said, "This is it.
This is it.
This is it."
Yep. I get it in two places: Trinidad and Nigeria.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I visited Nigeria before, and I had the same exact info. The same feeling. I'm like, damn, black people are the same everywhere. Like I don't know. That's the way that I felt as soon as I got there. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I felt like I felt like
I know this guy.
Yeah, So I think I try to preach that to a lot of brothers in the diaspora, but it's one of those things they got to go and see it for themselves, but
Yes.
real talk, like when I went to Nigeria, and even though the foods were a little different, but it was like um it was like their level of understanding. It was like it was. I've been to other Caribbean islands and things like of that nature. Like it just clicked when I went to Nigeria. I was like, damn, we're the same people.
Same. Let me tell you, there's sometimes I've done ceremonies. One time I'll never forget. This has been, and it was a sister who's there, and she brought her mom, and her mom was like, probably in her late 60s, Southern woman, you know what I mean, real Christian. But she brought her mom to the ceremony, and so we did the ceremony, and I'm leading everybody in the chants, and I'm leading everybody in the songs, and as we going through it, I'm checking mom's out, and mom's just like, she's right there with me. So by the end of the whole thing, she's singing and she's responding to the chants and everything. So I went over to her and I was like, I'm really impressed. You didn't seem at all, awkward about doing the chants and songs, and like, she's like, yeah, it took me a minute, but what y'all doing is like a low moan. That's what she said to me. I said, excuse me? She said, yeah, that's a low moan. Everything that you do is in a low moan. And once I figured that you was in a low moan, it just made total sense to me. I knew exactly what to do. So, a low moan is a reference to a chanting style here in the American South. You got a high moan, you got a low moan. Wynton Marsalis has an album called Levy Low Moan. Good, great jazz music. But that will be an instance wherein we African Americans would be considered the least African of the diaspora, ethnically speaking. But it's a question of understanding our culture. We ourselves aren't steeped enough in our own culture to be able to say, oh, when you chant Ifa, it's in a low moan. And musically, everything is in 6/8, right? For West African music. And that put the emphasis on the 1 and the 3, But that for us as African Americans, that doesn't make sense. Our music is on the 2 and the 4. So if you hear the music, but then you put it on the 2, all of a sudden, African Americans are going to hear it and feel it differently.
Right.
Let me pass it to Coco, then I'll pass it to Delroy and Omiola. Go ahead, Coco. Unmute yourself, Coco. Coco. Unmute yourself. Okay. Go ahead, Delroy.
Hey, how you doing, brothers? I just have a quick question. In Jamaica, my elders, they mostly passed on now, but they practice voodoo or voodoo. My grandmother used to say, "Oh, those people are practicing. They're doing voodoo. They're doing voodoo." But they did it in a church setting. They like mix it with Christianity.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask: is that the way some do it in like Benin and Brazil and those places?
Yeah, definitely. Probably, they were doing some revivalist thing in that
Yes.
church. Yeah, it was revivalist.
Yes. But it was nothing like a regular Christian church. You had a lot of African vibes to it. I didn't know it at the time, but my grandmother said they're practicing voodoo.
Yeah, those would be the things that, interestingly enough, African Americans exported also into the Caribbean. Our contribution to the revivalist and the spiritual Baptist thing comes out of the hundreds of African American families that were taken by the British into the Caribbean after this war, I guess, of 1812. And these people were known to be voodoo practitioners here from the Southern American South. And all that to say that, yes, we have syncretic religions all over the Caribbean and all over the diaspora. All of them have in common that they're either going to be Congo-based and then Christian or Catholic, or they're going to be Yoruba-based mixed with the Christian and the Catholic, or they'll be Dahomey Fon-based mixed with the Christian and the Catholic. But once you understand that it's like, that mix, then you know to look for certain elements that's going to be either Yoruba, Congo, or Fon merged with Christianity or Catholicism.
Okay, and let me ask you one other small question. What do you think about the because I mean most of us that study know this, but what do you think the significance is that Putin is now making it public and told his people to listen, you have to worship this particular Jesus now. He's black and this you have to worship it. Do you think that's like
If I get interject, did Putin say you have to worship?
yes, yes. He didn't say you have to. He said this is what we should start doing now and stop lying. They have it in video. It's in one of his speech.
Well, you know what I would say? I look at everything that those people do as theater, and everything that they do is some on deliberate. And I would say that I take it all with a grain of salt, but none of it pertains to me. And I would recommend that for everybody. That's just my personal opinion.
If I could add, Obafemi, why are black people so excited about this black picture of alleged black picture?
Yeah, they're not at all. That's my point.
No. Black people are so excited about it, of this alleged black image of Jesus that Putin put out there.
Because what we want ultimately, and we can't escape it, is we want to be legitimized
by white people, by
white people, and by the Western system as a whole. And we're never going to fully escape from that, but we got to keep it under wraps. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep it under control. That whatever they're talking about at the end of the day is irrelevant. My goal is to make what they're talking about irrelevant. It's happening. It was said, but hey man, they always lying to you. Everything that they say is a lie to you, and you got to hold them to it. And don't smile, don't bend, don't buck, don't nothing until he tells you, you got me. I was lying right about that part. I thought you was gonna go for that one. I thought you was gonna go for the second one. You didn't go for the third one either. I'm not going for none of them. You lying. Tell me the truth that you lying. They don't never tell you the truth. They don't never do nothing that's good for you. They don't never try to big you up. They're not trying to feed you. They're not trying to educate you. Everything that they're doing is for their benefit. Never, ever accept or believe otherwise.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you.
All right, cool. Let's pass to go ahead. Omiola, are you there? Omiola?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, go ahead.
Boy, Baba.
Boy, Joe.
I wanted to ask, since you mentioned earlier that you view the system of the School of Orisha Studies like a HBCU, do you feel that having a traditional Western higher institution education is useful, or maybe I guess a positive or an advantage to have when entering in the School of Orisha Studies?
I think that it will be beneficial, but I also think that if you've been in the Army, it will be beneficial. I think that if you have been incarcerated and you are on a progressive leadership side of it, it would be helpful. If you've been in the gang, and that's what I mean, you have a certain mindset, I think it'll be helpful. And what I mean is that the School of Orisha Studies is really intended for the people who want it bad enough to do what is necessary to get it. It's for the people who know what it is at first glance well enough to know that it's absolutely positively what they need to be doing. And I think that if you come from one of those two perspectives, or you have those kinds of experiences, then you could have been coming from the nation, you could have been coming from the street, you could have been coming from the church, you could have been coming from some combination thereof. But when you recognize it, you're going to say, "Yup, I'm doing that. I'm doing that all day, every day."
Ashe, thank you for answering, and thank you, Prince Dinus, for hosting the space.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. Go ahead, Sha.
Awomi, o, abora boye.
Aboye, aboshisho, agboato. Anilegi.
Hey, my brother, what's up? I'm glad to see you at my show. This is my show. I come in and talk a little sometimes. I listen. Greetings, Dinus. This is my Awo brother. You know who this is, yeah?
I'm recognizing your voice, but I don't know. I can't call you.
Well, you see the name on there. Gives you a clue.
I don't see. Let me see. My all I see is me and Dinus.
Okay. It's me, Shadidi.
Hey, Shadidi.
Let me tell you. Hey, let me tell you guys something. This brother right here is the reason I have hope for Orisha and how it should be lived, how it should be taught. And he's the generation like after me. I guess I'm coming in in '88, and so when I came in, it was at a time when it was more, kind of Lukumi was the Cuban way of practicing. It was most prevalent, and it wasn't as much information out at that time. So a lot of us that came in at that time, we learned that aspect of it, and to the best that we could, and it was good. It was good. But Baba Obafemi, he represents the next generation, in which we had access to more, and it's the philosophy. The part of it is more prevalent in the way he does it and his approach, and it's good, man. I'm so pleased and proud of you that you're doing what you're doing. Yeah. And it feels really good. And I'm glad to see you doing work. I see you on Instagram posting this thing, that your new title that you have. What's your new title?
I'm the Alatunse Onifa of Okeona, Abeokuta.
Wow, that's beautiful. And what does it mean?
The Alatunse is the restorer, the redeemer, the rebuilder, the one who corrects and replenishes things. The Alatunse.
Wow. That's
Onifa, Onifa just designates that it's an Ifa title, that I'm an Ifa devotee.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's definitely you. You are it. So I just wanted to come on and thank you and tell you that I'm very pleased that you are doing what you're doing. And I feel like Orisha, the growth of Orisha is in good hands with the generations coming after you, sir. And good job, Dinus. I appreciate you doing the show, man, and bringing people like this brother on.
No problem, man. Sometimes we get a little too toxic on here, man. So I'm just like, we gotta, yeah, man, we get kind of toxic on here, man. It's just like, oh man, we gotta go in a different direction. So
yeah, it's good. It's a different vibe for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Sometimes I'm just like, goodness, man. Folks want to fight, and they're just like, golly, man. I love. All right, Aki, something you want to add? Just unmute yourself. Oh, let me unmute you. Let me unmute you. Give me a second. Let me see if I can unmute you. All right, go ahead. You're good. Go ahead, Aki.
All right. Aboro Boye. You don't know me as Yali, but you haven't seen me in the school as Vermont. So just so you know.
Okay, right. My good brother. Right. Good evening.
All right. Good evening. I have two things to say, and to make a comment, and then I just wanted to say this because I think this is a good opportunity to say this. One, I do like what you the possibilities of the school of Abeokuta.
Yeah.
When I say possibilities, it's because I've too been to Nigeria. And it wasn't comforting as I would have wanted it to be. So the title of restoring something is befitting for what you're, for your goal. You know what I'm saying? And so for that, I give thanks for that journey that you're striving to take. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And two, I think the brother, he's left already, but the brother who said he was from Edo. And two,
Oh,
I
okay.
just want to give a shout out to you, man.
Yeah.
I've come on your platform at least once a year for the past few years, and you've always allowed me to speak freely. So I just want to, yeah, for sure. And I want to say this. He said something that was critical, and he was like, "Yo, we do something that's the same thing that they're doing over there." That I think a lot of people who don't understand that from a West African perspective, because they don't see these people as neighbors almost with the same father. They see them as warring strangers because that's what the history that was 500 years ago started off as. That's where they were at. Before we came here, they were warring.
Right.
So a lot of people keep that same mentality when they come into the traditions and don't see that from a perspective of these brothers are actually brothers and sisters in these clans and they have a similar thread.
Right.
So even with the brother who came on from Edo, who like he said, I'm from over here. Maybe he's, whatever he is, Igbo or whatever it could be, Fulani. They don't see it from a perspective like that. They see it from a different separatism and from someone who had a broad experience. I'm like, yo, my name is this, but you say that I don't know that. And I'm like, yo, but that's the same thing over here. But my title is just different. But you don't recognize that even in mine, I have to walk righteousness too. Like you said, it's apparent that Ifa, when you come to Ifa, you already know that brother. You already know how to treat your neighbors. You already know how to do this stuff because most people don't know that, and I'm gonna leave it at this because I'm not gonna keep going. That character is what benefits them.
Yeah.
Right? And seeing people strive to let people know that the character you take into the tradition is what you get out of it.
Right.
And not so much as how much you put in the tradition is what you get out. Because the tradition is yours, as you said, it's your inheritance, it's your birthright.
Right.
It's waiting on you to receive it.
Right.
Right. And so I just want to give thanks because there's a different perspective I think that is coming, and I think that a lot of people could be open to it if they just seen that, we were much more similar than what we separate ourselves about. And I like to think what you both brothers are doing. Dennis, like I said, I've seen you before, I've been on your platform before, and like I said, I'm here to always bring a clearer side to a side that may not be as clear, right? So that's why, if you don't know, I'm Yali. And I have no confrontation on what's being said because I understand the root of who I am and what I come from, so I can wear that title without offense. Or I can wear it and be in the midst of those who have the sacred traditions because, as you say, right, as I learned from you, right, Baba, what did you say? In the Ojibwe, right? He said, it says, let me get it right. I don't want to misquote it, right? It speaks about the Awo, but it speaks about the Awo from a perspective of he was a secret, and his character is what the thing is that what you how you knew him. Many people I've seen that they're striving for the title, but the title is not what makes you. It's not what gets you the permission to do such things. It's not what gets you into the door to make this thing move. It's not the vehicle that powers the thing. right? That's not it. But it is what you see because it's the external expression. But that in which powers it, we all touch it. We all feel it when you chant the drum. We all bounce to it on the 2 and 4. Right? And so because that's what I dance to, I know when I see it and feel it everywhere I go. I know what I see it and feel it with the people on who I'm touching hands with. And I don't worry about what name I use. I just make sure that we on the 2 and 4 together. Right? And
Yeah.
so that's all I wanted to say, Baba. So I give thanks to y'all, brothers. And no, I'm not here to do anything other than that, but just say like, hey, I think that we can have another discussion too. And that's all. You guys have a good day.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yep.
May I?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Absolutely.
That's a visionary brother. And what I mean by that is that, you know, they're people think in different ways. You got people who think we're bottom up processors and people who are top down processors. The bottom up processors are people who are like, we're going to do something like in 10 minutes. If we're not doing it in 10 minutes, I'm out. We're going to start doing it and building, making things, knocking shit down, putting shit back up together, painting it, whatever. But we're going to do it now. There's other people who's like, you know, we need to see this whole thing. I need to see the whole schema, like the blueprint, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4.
Paralysis by analysis.
Yeah. And so you got to put those two together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To have a plan and a vision and then to make it happen. And so I hear the words of a brother who's, you know, who's thinking very big term, big. And so one thing that I want to say that's befitting of an African American thinker and of an African American practitioner, to be able to think on a global scale and understand the full spectrum of our identity in Europe, in the Caribbean, in South America, in Africa, here in the United States. The benefit that, but for us as African Americans, where we get stronger is from the ground, is from the bottom up, where we start to really appreciate the tradition and we understand and we respect the rules and the parameters and the what we could call the rules, the parameters, and maybe the boundaries that the tradition sets. And
For sure.
when we look at what the full spectrum of, say, for example, the Yorubas and the Edo, the Yorubas and the Fon, the Yorubas and the Igbo, etc. Well, what they have is variances and differences that are based on historical experience. And the only way we're going to transcend those things is by providing something that incentivizes everybody to get along, you know. And so when we provide the transportation system or the shipping system or the money exchange system, whatever it is, when we provide that vehicle that really makes it beneficial for everybody to cooperate, then that's when it's going to happen. That's what we're waiting for. That's what you're identifying as a problem that you need to solve. And that problem is going to be solved by, it needs to, you know, everybody needs an incentive for making the present way of interacting obsolete. Right now, the present way of arguing about this or that and the other, it works. Somebody's getting something out of it. Make it so that nobody's getting nothing out of it. They're getting more out of finding out, what do I have in common with this cat? Oh, this brother's Edo. Hey, look, I need to know more about this, the Edo connection between us and the Ijebu. I'm from Ijebu. I'm not just Yoruba, but I'm from Ondo. So I need to know, what's the Ondo Edo connection.
There we go.
I'm from Oyo. What's the connection between us and the Fon? Get somebody on it right now. I need 5 people up in here, and I need all the breakdowns. Every story that explains Oyo and Fon. That's your job. If as an African American, straight up and down, if you're not doing that, you're not doing nothing. That's your job. That's your duty. That's your position. That's your role. That's what you know as an African American. That's what you was born with. That's what you was raised with. Get with the program. Start creating solutions. part of our deal is that we acting like guests. You're not a guest in the house of Orisha. Take leadership, take ownership, direct something, create some solutions, and make some money. If that's what it's all about, everybody's gonna say, rock on, man, keep doing that thing. But otherwise, we're gonna be quarreling and bickering and not making no progress. So if you listen to what I'm saying, what problem are you solving? If you're not waking up every day solving the problem, then you need to find somebody who's solving problems. You need to stand beside them. You need to ask him, how can you help him solve a problem, until you figure out what problem you're gonna solve.
Can I ask another question? I have to go.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks,
cooking.
bro.
Let me read this super chat first. Marie Shine, please have more conversations like this. Thank you. Hey, like I said, we're going in a different direction. Go ahead, Delroy.
Yeah, I have a question for you again. What percentage of Nigerians practice? And also, is this a way of life, or did our ancestors practice it as a way of life, or a religion? What is it? A way of life? That's my question.
It is absolutely a way of life, which is why I'm saying what I'm saying. See, your economy drives your culture. It's not the other way around.
I say.
The way you make money is going to determine how you move. The way you make money determines who you talk to. The way you make money determines how long you talk to them and what you talk to them about. So, at the root of it, Orisha is an economic base. The reason why it's at variance is because we're operating on someone else's economy.
Right. So that's what I figured.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a way of life, but
right.
People who practice it have to struggle to do it because they haven't figured out a way to use it to solve real problems.
So why do they associate it with religion? 'Cause I think that's the problem.
Well, it's only a problem because we think of religion as Christianity and Islam, but that's colonial mentality. Those are just two religions out of 5,000 religions on the planet right now.
Mm-hmm.
Every culture is religion. If you look up the index and language, it's almost a 1-to-1 relation. There's about 4,800 languages in the world, and there's about 4,800 religions in the world. It's almost 1-to-1. Language and religion and culture is like the same. So we only think of the fact that Vodun and Ifa and Orisha is religion is a problem because it's a problem to the Semitic religions. The Buddhists don't have no problem with Ifa, but they are overlapping. The Hindus don't have no problems with voodoo, but that's because our economies aren't overlapping. If we're doing business with them, then the conversation would be entirely different because it wouldn't be a problem about, oh, what do you have behind the door, or why is that on your forehead, or you know what I mean?
And actually, that's how it got rooted in most of West Africa. Is through trade.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And then by force in some cases.
But it's by trade that it's able to be retained. They're dominating our lifestyle through the economy, through commerce, through trade.
All right, let me Sim, go ahead.
Man, first things first, man. I listened to your last 2 or 3 programs, and I definitely 100% agree with you on the direction of the platform, because it really will show people's versatility, and it will show, it will really show their angles and why they come onto your platform. You get what I'm saying? Because I always felt that some people just came on here to be a contrarian. Some people just came on here to argue, or some people tried to even come to the platform to make you look less than what you are. You get what I'm saying? So I 100% agree with the direction. You get what I'm saying? It's as bad as most people thought that my rhetoric is, one thing you ain't never heard me do or say on here was talking about me putting my hands on somebody or meet somebody in the back of Waffle House ready to throw fisticuffs. You get what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying, that
So
just
simply, let me ask you a question.
go ahead.
Like, so say me and Obafemi, say we have a disagreement here on
Yes, sir.
YouTube. Like, why do some people take it so personal to where they want to see each other outside of YouTube? Then let's get back to the topic, because I just don't want to.
I will. I'm just, you know,
understand. Like, some folks, they really like. I'm just like, bro,
it's like I tell you all the time. Some of these guys are raised up by women. And they have this women in the black community. Women are the dictators in the black community because 85% of us is raised by women. So if your mom is wrong, she's right because she's your mom. You know what I'm saying? We're the only group of people that talks like that. You get what I'm saying? Like we don't check our mama because we can't check our mama. We can't check our parents because the way we act as black people, you say something that your parents don't like, they ready to put you out the house. You get a job at 15 years old, they ready to, you get a job at Wing Hut, they ready to take $40 to $50 out your paycheck every week, and they want you to start paying bills. This is how we act as a people. So when you grow up around women like that, you have this disposition to where if you don't do what I tell you to do, if you don't vote for the president that I want you to vote for, if you don't go with the party I want to go do, I will fight you for it, because I tell you all the time. In the way that we think as black people, especially black men, all we do is offer is dick and disaster.
Okay, all right. So let's get okay.
So hold on, I'm gonna get back to the topic. So what I'm saying is that
we gotta get back to the topic.
I got you. I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna get back to the topic. But all I'm saying is that when we can't offer anything, we can't offer jobs, we can't offer land, we can't offer financial advice, we can't offer a lawyer retained. Like I got a lawyer retained. You know what I'm saying? Not because I don't committed crime, it's because of my business endeavors going forward. You get what I'm saying? I need even though as smart as I think I am, Diners, I need somebody with another perspective. You get what I'm saying? That can show me the legal angle. Of course, I'm gonna throw my street to it, the situation, to see it from the outside looking in. I'm gonna look at the situation 3 different ways, like a pyramid, but I still need the other way of seeing things. And we just blindly don't do that. So we don't feel like you ain't listening or my word, or, you know, sometimes, Diners, we feel like whoever talked the loudest is the right. It doesn't matter if you scream the loudest, that doesn't make you right.
Right.
Now, but like I say, let's say I appreciate how you doing this, because it's going to show people's versatility. You know what I'm saying? So, like, going back to the platform, this is the only problem. It's one of those situations to where it's 2 things can be right at the same time. I agree with everything the brother's doing, but it's just like when I come on this platform and I be preaching entrepreneurship, and I'm saying that black people are, you know, we're employee based people. You know, you have people in the chat saying, well, everybody ain't meant to be an entrepreneur. How can you say that? How can you sit up in the mirror and say, man, maybe I wasn't meant to be an entrepreneur? Like, anybody can be an entrepreneur. It's small business, a big, but the problem is, Diners, is that black people want to hit the lottery with every business that they operate. They want to put in $20 and make 20 billion.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that I agree with everything the brother's saying, but this is the only thing that I disagree, because I'm what you call I can look at the way that the world is shifting, because I deal with transportation. I can tell that we're at war. Just because the powers that be ain't told y'all we're at war, we're at war. Like, people are sizing up their portfolios, they're sizing up their stocks, their shipments, their barrel counts. You get what I'm saying? Everybody is shifting, and black people, we're the only people that's still trying to get along. We still trying to find our way. You get what I'm saying? We still trying to find a way to honor my brother, Don't talk bad about Dynas. Don't talk bad about talk about him behind his back. Support his platform. I don't need to be a part of no organization to know how to do that, Dynas.
Right.
Nobody shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to fall on my magical knees, pick up a voodoo doll, you know what I'm saying, or dance around in the streets to know how to do right by my brother. Some
Right.
things should just be
I say,
common sense. Some
Right.
I
things should
say,
just be common sense. And black people
I
go
say,
out there. Black people go out their way to not have common sense because
I say,
deep down inside, I think black people love to be led by white people. They love it. And on top of that, you know, after the slave masters released the slaves, you know what I'm saying, the United States thought that they was going to have a real problem with black people. They were shocked when black people wanted to stay here and didn't want to go back to Africa. So they said, well, you don't want to go back to Africa. Here come this Jim Crow for you. You get what I'm saying? You don't want to go back to Africa. Let me structure this system to where you're gonna lose. You're gonna always be my help. You're gonna always be up under my boot. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna give you white Jesus. We're gonna let you make all the best. Because one thing that I give you, Dynas, and give the brother and all the other people that are Christians, one thing that I give y'all Christian do got the best songs. They make the best music. They make the best dances. The preacher slide across the floor. They the most animated. He throw a handkerchief up in the air, do a split, catch it in the back of his back pocket or some like he had hibachi or something. You get what I'm saying? We like to be entertained. And until we get out that mindset of being entertained and want to be led, all these different organizations and different sections, they're fine. But at the end of the day, when you talk about the brother is reviving, restoring, that just basically means like we're starting over. We're starting from scratch.
Right.
Everybody else is already posturing for a war.
Right.
Everybody else is already posturing for a debacle. You get what I'm saying? We're the only ones that's still trying to just get along. So we're going to be the ones that get stepped on. And then if the lights go off, most black people ain't even got enough food in their kitchen to last them 2 or 3 days. If Walmart cut off their lights and shut their doors, black people be out there in the parking lot screaming for white Jesus falling down on their magical kneecaps. Wait for somebody to bring them some Roman noodles and some chicken.
Right.
Man, we are sick as a people, and it's just so many of us that want to be led. It's so many splinter cells. You got LBA, you got this splinter cell, you got the 12 tribes of Quest, you got these brothers, you got the Navajo chiefs and Chevy Navajos. You get what I'm saying? You got the Flat Earthers, you got the Turtle Island. We don't have enough people to be separated.
Right.
It needs to be a straight line, stream thought process. Everybody ain't got to believe in the same thing, but we got to be running the same lane.
Right.
Everybody can have on different clothes in the lane, but the problem with the black community, we got this weird thing that we want everybody to be exact. We want everybody to hold their hands the same way. We want everybody to pray the same way. We want everybody to greet each other the same way. But at the end of the day, we don't respect each other. We don't like each other. And until we get past that, now I think the only thing that can help us is an entrepreneur mindset. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you're betting on yourself. You're betting on your own feet, your own knees, your own back, and your own brain. But we don't want that. You get what I'm saying? Because we like getting a paycheck on Friday, blow it on Saturday, Sunday, give 10% to white Jesus, and then complain about going to work on Monday. And we complete that cycle. So until we get out of that, it's no matter what organization that's going to start. But believe me, brother, I salute everybody. Anything got to do with trying to make people be better. But the mind frame, the thought process has to change before any type of reverence or committing to a certain program. The mind got to be clear to all this mess. You know what I'm saying? And bro, I only said one cuss word in 5 minutes, bro. That is good for me. And I will pass the mic.
Hey, that brother right there is a book. That tell me, what is the brother's name? What is the brother's name?
Simp Police Academy.
The Simp Police Academy, aka Hustle Smart, aka High Value Tyrone. But my YouTube channel is the Simp Police Academy.
I'm on there. I'll be following you immediately.
Yes, sir, and I will do the same to you, my brother.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the richness.
All right, let's see. Do we have any more? Let's see. There's Coco. Coco, you want to unmute yourself? Coco. Okay, I guess Coco doesn't want to add. But Obafemi, how can people learn more about your? In fact, what's the link to your academy? And I could share the screen and show it.
Okay. Excuse me. The best link is obafemio.com. OBAFEMIO.com. And from there, you'll be able to follow some links to the school, to my classes, to my books, my social media accounts, and and then you can just get into the conversation. Yeah, that's it right there. Obafemio.com, and I'm ready to engage the good people in meaningful conversation about all the things that we've discussed, restoring the African mind.
Okay. All right, so I'm here on the site now. I'm going to put the link in the chat room for people to. And as far as the academy, can you tell us more about it? As far as details, what people can expect, how it works, tuition.
Yes. So the base of everything is the School of Orisha Studies, and the School of Orisha Studies is there's 6 levels, but I wouldn't call them levels. There's 6 points of engagement where you can join the school, and the higher up that you join, the more access you get to content. So it's just a question of how much time and effort do you want to put into the studies. But the students are learning to chant, they're learning the sacred text, they're learning dream incubation, they're learning to do the worship process. We have a daily divination that gives us pointers and parameters for the day, as well as a 16-day divination that frames up the do's and don'ts for a 16-day period, what we call the Itadogun. As a person masters that content and the practices associated with it, then, like I said, you'll find the need and the interest to go and deepen your studies and your practice in Nigeria. And so it's our study abroad program. Basically, the Abeokuta campus is our study abroad program for everybody who wants to go, put in a month, put in 3 months, put in 6 months in Nigeria, and just download the deep teachings, so that when you come back, you can, cross-pollinate and make sure that you share your experience with the students who are here in the United States, in your community, etc.
Okay, cool. Any other questions from the panel? And then we'll close out.
Hey, Dynast, can you do one thing and put up Spellcasters? He put up his last comment when he said that why would Black Americans head back to Africa after all the work they put into the building America? Can you put that up? You see it?
It's up.
Now, this is the thing, because I know Dynast was finna close. And let me answer. I'm gonna answer this. Say that again, sir.
Go ahead. Take your time. Go ahead.
Okay. And this is what I'm gonna say about this. See, when we talk about what Black Americans did, it's 2 ways to where you can take ownership of something. You take ownership to something when you created the floor plan, the schematics, the blueprint. It's a different when somebody is standing over you with a whip.
Right.
It's a different when the person next to you got whips on their back.
Right.
It's a difference when the lady that's over there picking the cotton just got graped the night before. Right. It's a difference when the brothers out there building the railroad, you get what I'm saying, were just made to have sex with one of his family members he didn't know to breed.
Right.
You was put in a process to breed and to work. That's nothing that you built. Like we always have this thing where we say that white people needed us. No, white people took the easy way out. You got to understand the beginning of the way the United States was made. It was at a time when white people just went out there. The government told them, go out there, stake your claim, and build. You get what I'm saying? This is how it started. So white people could have did it, but what they did was when they went to Africa, they saw how easy it was to manipulate Africans. Would change that. They saw how Africans in Africa was against each other and how easy it was to manipulate them with grains of salt, bags of sugar, that fire water. You get what I'm saying? And the obsession with the white skin. You get what I'm saying? So therefore, when they came over there and got us, took the most, like the thing that most people don't talk about, spellcaster, most of the Africans went to Brazil. You get what I'm saying? So the only difference between the Africans in Brazil and the Africans in the United States is that we speak the colonized language. That's why we have the loudest voice. That's the only reason. It was more slaves that went to Brazil, to South America. But like I say before, the only thing that's keeping us with a voice is because the Latinos don't know how to speak English. There are already 80, 90 million of them, and they let them come in 300,000 a month. The game is going to be over once they learn how to speak English. It will be the black slave experiment will be over with at that point. They don't got 400 years plus out of black people for slavery. They let black people come in, build up the prison system by attacking their own. Because if you go back, I'm a person of prison. I went to prison myself, and I say right now that the way my mind was, because I was so cutthroat in the streets, that prison actually saved my life. Now I didn't want to go to prison, but prison set me down for my thought process to streamline. After I got out, I hit the ground running. But what I know for a fact, that 90% of every guy that was in prison was from a crime against their own. It wasn't a crime against white people. They weren't going out in the white people neighborhood, busting their heads, killing them. They was in their own neighborhoods pushing the poison. I was one of them. I was breaking into the houses. So what I'm saying is that that's why you should go see somewhere else, because the one thing that white people do, they allow us to tear down our neighborhoods. They allow us to make the property cheap, and then they come in there and buy it up. They come in there and buy it up. They rebuild it. They regentrify the neighborhood, and then they outprice you out of it. You get what I'm saying? And then all you can do is go into the neighborhoods where they don't want to live at anymore, and then you ride back in this neighborhood and be like, man, it sure used to be this. No, sir. When you were staying in this neighborhood, you did everything you can do to keep it in the situation that it was in. They allow that because they operate on a capitalistic system. So they'll let you sell drugs. They'll let you pimp females out here. They'll let you do drive-bys. You get what I'm saying? They'll let you spray paint. They'll let you shoot out the lights, because while y'all doing that, you're not buying anything. And we always talk about the school system. Believe me, bro, the neighborhood that I stay in, for my mortgages, it's a tax for the school. So my taxes that I pay come up my mortgage goes to a school that my kids don't even go to. That's the way that the capitalist system works. And we're so busy just being 9-to-5 employee black people and going to church and throwing the pastor 10%. We don't even understand the way the war is being fought on a capitalist system. So we haven't built anything if we don't own anything. If you can't put your name on it and have some paperwork to show for it, it's not yours. It's just something that you was made to do. And ain't nobody gonna sit up there and give you something when they made you do it, when they ain't have to give you nothing but a bucket of water and some bread. Why would they turn around and why would you turn around and do that? It's the equivalent of people that stayed in the projects still talking about this my neighborhood when it's government assist apartments.
Right.
Right.
Your mom, your dad, your grandmama is getting subsidized to live in these neighborhoods. Why would you claim this neighborhood? Why would
Yeah.
you sit up there and get it tattooed on your body? Why would you kill another black man for an area where white people can come in there at any moment, tell you, your mama, your grandmama, them to get out of there? And there's nothing that you can do about it. But you stand on this corner every day talking about you made this neighborhood when you ain't put damn rock down, you ain't put no brick down, no mortar down, you ain't dig not one hole. You just stand out here being bravado. And that's what we got in the black
And
neighborhoods.
we've
We
got
got
to
a lot of bravado. We got a
got it.
lot of colloquialism. We got a lot of colloquial terms and colloquialisms. You get what I'm saying? And we have a lot of know-it-all and I knew it all ism. But we don't have a lot of entrepreneurship. We need to get more of that and
I
not
agree.
making quotes like, why would we go somewhere? We built this. They will never relinquish power until we get up off our butts and stop fighting each other and take it to them. Take it in their
May
neighborhoods.
I make a comment, please?
I passed the mic.
I appreciate your comments and your insight. You got a lot of insight. I just wanted to say this and then get off because I know it's coming to a close anyway. But I wanted to say about the institutions that I like with Obafemi and Dynas. I hope that you bring him back on again.
Oh, listen, anytime he has a home here, so Obafemi's a regular, anytime.
And just say this that I see the thing that Wande Abimbola started called Ifa Heritage School, and what Obafemi is doing is just a part of that as well. You know, to me, those are going to be institutions that are important because African Americans, if we have a place we can come to and learn and be able to transpose the way in which transpose from back home to a way that we can learn it, better, and then segue into learning it from the language itself. But I just want to say this is that I hope to see institutions in which the Ifa priests or the Babalaos, Iyanifas, are able to assist ministers of finance, ministers of agriculture, the presidents, that like back in the day of Kemet, those priests had to learn for 40 years, and then they would take on the responsibilities of being ministers of different aspects of society. And I'm hoping to see our priesthoods come back into that place where we are involved in building an Africa, because Yoruba is one ethnic group, but actually there's a cultural unity amongst us all, and that this model can be replicated in other ethnic groups, and that it's a tapestry of beauty, that we have all these different aspects of culture and science, and that all of them can be a part of what makes Africa, strong and protected against those who, we have no friends, and everybody comes in to take from us. So once we get ourselves, kind of situated, the answer to our problem is going to come from an African perspective, whatever perspective that it manifests culturally, that we open the door for that to take place. Anyway, thank you again, and Baba, keep up the good work.
It's sure. Thank you, good brother Shadidi. It's good to hear from you. I'm very encouraged and reminded of so many good things. So it's good to hear your voice. I'm looking forward to hearing from you again.
And let me read this last comment or question. Does the Orisha training include role-specific ideals for building strong institutions, how men should lead, and what elements should women lead, and how should they follow men's lead?
Okay. So read that again, please.
Let me pull it back. Let me pull it back up. Give me a second. I gotta find it. Does the Orisha training include role-specific ideals for building strong institutions, how men should lead and what elements should women lead and how should they follow men's lead?
Yeah, we have definitely so we have within the school, we have an egg bale cornering, which is the men's society, and we have the egg bale beering, which is the women's society. And those create opportunities for organic leadership on both sides of the gender spectrum. And then within the leadership team of the temple, we have male leaders and female leaders. And what that means is that the leadership team within the temple is a reflection of both, let's say, Yoruba civic leadership as well as religious leadership. So some of the titles are religious titles, and some of the titles are civic titles on the male side and the female side. So it creates opportunities for both men and women to take ownership of not only what we learn, but how we support learning for women and how we support learning for men. Although the content is the same, it's just that we recognize that we need to do certain things to support the women learning, and we need to do certain things to support the men learning. And that plays out in real time in terms of how we organize our activities. Women lead certain parts of organizing activities, and men lead certain parts. And of course, there's just merit and talent. People who are better with numbers, whether they be male or female, are going to take the lead in that. People who are better with communication are going to take the lead in that, whether they be male or female. So being a school and a temple gives me enough flexibility to be able to optimize people's natural gifts and talents, and create enough platforms for people to lead and flourish and cooperate with and collaborate with one another in an organic but organized way.
All right, cool. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Haru. Peace.